Several parts of the world is slowly but surely becoming inhabitable. Trash cans are melting, eggs are being cooked, and metal signs that were made to stand the heat is slowly becoming unreadable. Then there are these things, the savior that will save us all. Actually, save only some of us. Sure, on one hand, you could sit comfortably on your couch watching this YouTube video right now. But on the other hand, it is contributing to the reason you need an air conditioner in the first place. You see, for an aircon to create a cooler environment inside, they need to push out hot air outside. Moreover, the aircon needs to get their energy, and most of it comes from fossil fuel. This is a problem because not everyone can afford aircons. And since the planet is getting hotter and more people are buying aircons, the situation that people who can't afford aircons looks something like this. Okay, I do not want to get kicked out of YouTube, but you get my point, right? We need to find better alternative cooling methods that won't cause climate change. This is a wind catcher, or you can call it a wind tower or a wind scoop. It's that tall, cool building you see in the Aladdin live action. It is a traditional Middle Eastern architectural element used to capture and direct wind into the building to provide natural ventilation and cooling. Naturally, there are more winds in higher heights due to less obstacle that blocks the wind. Therefore, there are tall structures that allow cool wind to go in from the top of the building while the hot air gets pushed out. Another way is by using biomimicry, like termite mounds. They're able to stay in extremely hot situations without an AC. This building in Zimbabwe is a great example of how biomimicry can significantly cool down a building. Bricks and concrete slab make up the structure, which is an advantage because they have a large thermal mass, which means they can absorb a lot of heat without letting the heat pass through. Unlike another material such as glass that absorb very little heat and most of the heat pass into the building, making the building get really hot. The building also offers smaller windows to minimize cool air flowing out, as well as reducing heat from the sun getting inside the building. The small windows are similar to the small opening in termite mounds as seen in this picture. There's only holes for a little bit of light and air, but not enough to affect the temperature inside the mound. Low-powered fans spread the cool night air throughout the building's 7th story by drawing cool wind from outside. Warm air is vented through the roof and sent out by the chimneys as the temperature rises in the morning. The inside maintains a comfortable 27 degrees Celsius during the day and a 14 degrees Celsius at night, thanks to its creative design. This idea is also taken from the termite mounds. There are many large holes on the base of the mound, which allow for cool air to pass through and push out hot air through the cone-shaped chimney. Not to add that it consumes up to 35% less energy than comparable structures in Zimbabwe. Furthermore, there has been research done to put vertical windmills on the chimneys, which will produce energy and reduce energy consumption even more. This wind catcher in Iran or this infrastructure in Zimbabwe might have very elaborate engineering. However, sometimes less is more. For example, this building in Italy, which used white paint to reflect the sunlight. This simple yet effective solution has been used for centuries, and more centuries to come. Okay, all of the solutions I mentioned before sounds really cool. However, what about already built buildings? We can't really just add more bricks or slap some white paint on the glass buildings. So what can we do about it? Well, there are several options, like more efficient air conditioners, which is quite an easy fix. However, a more over-the-top and long-standing way to significantly lower the average temperature of a city is by using district cooling, which Singapore got it all figured out. District cooling is a centralized and energy-efficient cooling system that serves multiple buildings within a specific area, such as a neighborhood, commercial district, or campus. It operates by producing chilled water at a central plant and distributing it through an underground network of insulated pipe to individual buildings. This process eliminates the need for individual buildings to have their own cooling equipment, reducing energy consumption and minimizing the environmental impact. It can save up to 50% of energy. One thing that cities get wrong about trees are that trees are for shade, hence shade can replace trees. There's a trend in car-dependent cities with a hotter climate, such as cities in South Asia, where the footpath is so narrow that there's only enough space for trees to live in a hole of dirt, or no space for trees at all. This is mainly due to the fact that cars take up the majority of the street, so people and trees have to be pushed to the side. Therefore, vendors and store owners opt to build a roof in front of their stores to attract sweaty customers looking to escape the heat. However, even with shade, the street is still extremely hot. This is because the concrete and asphalt used to build the road absorb heat. So even if the sidewalk is not in direct contact with the heat, the air is. During a heat wave, people will put ice in front of their fans so that the wind will come in contact with ice, thus being cooler. That is the same with a hot road. When the wind flows to the sidewalk, it is getting heated by the concrete in the road. So no, a little shade is not enough to cool down a street. However, it is a good start. From the videos I show on screen, it might seem like there are quite a bit of trees. Like, not a lot, but not less either. One thing to consider is climate. Barcelona sprinkled trees around the city, and it has made the streets much more livable. But sprinkling trees in the city is literally what South Asian countries have been doing for decades, and the city is still incredibly hot. If we were to do the same as Barcelona, prepare to get disappointed when people still want to stay in their climate control boxes called a car. It is just a reality that these countries are closer to the equator and have to put in more effort to cool the city. We need to limit the usage of concrete and prioritize parks and wetlands over malls and single-family houses. Take the Green Lung in Thailand for an example. It is a cluster of natural ecosystem right near a city. Even if this city doesn't really have that much more trees than the average city in Thailand, it still managed to be much cooler. This just goes to show you how important the neighboring ecosystem is on our cities. Another way to cool down a city is to get rid of cars. I know, it sounds like a daunting task, something that cannot be done in the foreseeable future. However, depending on the city you live in, it might actually be able to be done. It is a misconception that only European streets with small narrow roads can have no cars. However, that is not the case, and Barcelona actually proves that. Barcelona once operated like a regular American city, with cars and wide streets. However, an architect named Oriol Bohigas thought of an idea of conjoining 9 city blocks to create a zone without cars. This doesn't require that much effort, however, it proved to be a success and lowered Barcelona's temperature significantly. Generally speaking, this is what an average street in South Asia looked like. There are stores on the bottom floor, while there are residential areas on the top floor. This structure is great because it allows people to walk shorter distance to get to the store they want, and even nowadays, people are walking. With no car zones, it allows more people to walk and more space for trees, so actually it's not really that big of a fix. I'm not here to say get rid of all cars, however, just less cars in areas that is not really needed would be a great start. With that said, we reached the end of the video. I tried to have a diverse solution from all around the world and I hope you enjoyed it.